Yep, welcome back to SeaBed. Last time, we saw Sachiko and Takako have sex on the deserted island. And then we skipped forward a few years, I think. And Takako has just disappeared, and Sachiko is not as worried as she probably should be about all of this. But yeah, and she talked to her friend from elementary school who is like a psychiatrist now. Because she's been hallucinating Takako's voice, right? Yeah, and she works at the design office, which I guess is where she is right now. She owns the company, she said, right? No. I guess that's how they were able to afford the uninhabited island. Okay, let's continue. Is the volume good? Yeah, okay. I grabbed a pack of iced coffee from the fridge and filled my flower patterned cup, then returned to the office with cup in hand. Okay, flower pattern is interesting because wasn't there's been a lot of flower imagery, right? Because the dish that disappeared from the room in that one tip that we saw was also in the shape of a flower, right? And the shirt that Takako, the Takako shirt that was in the box, that we saw at the beginning of last scene, was also had a flower on it, right? Seems like it's kind of a recurring motif. The office itself was a small, cream-colored room with 5 office desks crammed into it. 4 of the desks faced each other, while the last one was slightly further away, positioned by the window. Is that your desk? I headed toward that particular desk, sat down, and proceeded to turn on my computer. Sipping coffee with one hand while typing my password with the other, I listened to Takako nibble on her 10th or so candy. Okay, so we're at a different point in time again. It seems like every chapter is just like going back and forth through time. Like there's no consistency. So this is, they're adults, but this is before Takako disappeared. Oh, okay, these are the other employees. There are guys in this universe? Takako, her eyes fixed on the documents, reached out towards a transparent glass jar resting next to her monitor. It was filled with colorful candies. She nimbly undid its cap and, avoiding the lemon-colored ones, picked a candy with an apple design on its wrapping. The lemon-colored ones are good. The grape ones are the one you want to avoid. Grape ones, yeah. I think every other flavor is good. Just a grape one you gotta avoid. After unwrapping the thing, she quickly chucked it into her mouth. And started nibbling on it. Soon enough, she casually thrust her hand into the jar again and pulled out a lemon-colored one. Her hand stopped as she noticed the color of its wrapping. Want a candy, Fumi? Takako addressed the employee sitting in front of her. Oita Fumi. New character. Oita Fumi. This might have been her that was at the funeral and not the doctor, like I said. Because they both have similar hair, I think. Fumi shifted her gaze to Takako, knitting her eyebrows. Yeah. How many of those can you eat in a day? The sound you make when you're chewing is bothering me. I'm always sleepy past noon. If I don't eat something, I might fall asleep. Your sugar intake must be off the charts. Don't come crying to me when you gain weight. It's okay, my brain burns all the sugar anyway. To me, candies are like coal to a steam engine. She let out a hearty guffaw. Figuring that I'd seen enough, I rose from my desk and drew closer to them. I picked up a candy bottle from the table. I'll be confiscating this. But that's my fuel! Takako spun around as Fumi made a crooked smile behind her back. The sound you make is bothering everyone. If you can't eat them in silence, then chew on this instead. Okay, I'm sorry, this is fucking insane. If my boss did this to me, I would have a bit of a crash out, I think. What do you mean, the sound of me chewing candy is bothering everyone? It's in the office. The sound of people typing on their computers would be louder. Like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? I'm getting mad in place of Takako right now. This is very inappropriate. I held up a piece of mint gum in front of her face. Takako opened her mouth, biting the gum straight out of my hand. Gum doesn't make me feel like I've eaten anything, but I guess it's better than nothing. I placed the candy bottle on my desk and resumed my accounting work. Just put fucking headphones on if it's bothering you that much. Choo choo. I gave the completely unfazed Takako an exasperated look. Fumi did the same. How dare you eat candy? How fucking dare you? You should get your pay reduced because of that. I shall let out a pleading creak. Takako, sitting backwards with her arms wrapped around her backrest, spun around to face another one of our employees, Inukai Takahiko. Inukai Takahiko. Inukai, tell me something interesting. During that meeting regarding confectionery packages, Inukai gave Fumi a quick glances. Inukai. Fumi, still immersed in work, murmured his name in a menacing tone. Inukai and Fumi were sitting on the reception room sofa next to each other. In front of them sat a representative from a confectionery company. Various drafts for package design ideas brainstormed by Fumi were lined up on the coffee table between them. I think using a caramel case for the label of this project would be better. Fumi pointed at the letters on the design they were all looking at. The guest cocked his head, and so we have a design of candies interspersed between a wave of letters. Fumi continued on her own, ignoring the two men with almost visible question marks above their heads. As Fumi finally paused and gave the silent guest a questioning look, it was as though an exclamation mark appeared above Inukai's head. Fumi, I'm sorry, but could it be that you meant camel case? It seems like she's been using it wrong all of her life. Who cares? This is... I mean, to be fair, this is the kind of conversation that would happen in an office, but like, who gives a fuck? This is so stupid. Not like either name makes much sense in context. Fumi raised her hands in exasperation. Well, caramel at least sounds tastier. Takako gave Fumi a patronizing look. The chime of a bell similar to that of schools abruptly filled the room. Thanks for the funny story, Inukai. Takako stood up as the afternoon bell faded away. Sachi, it's time for lunch. She leaned over my monitor to stare at my face. How do you have a bell? Don't you have like 5 employees? I'm not deaf. Go ahead of me. I'll join you after I finish this. I'll be waiting for you with a cup of tea. I'll make it. I guess you have 3 employees actually. Takako and Fumi trotted into the kitchen, leaving Inukai and me alone in the office. Before long, I finished my papers. I pulled out a lunchbox out of my bag and stood up, noticing that Inukai was still working at his desk. Are you not going to have lunch? I'm leaving in a minute. What's your plan for today? I was in a bit of a seafood Donbury mood. The place is going to be full by now. Well, if there's no space, I'll make do with regular gyudon. Inukai pulled a coin purse out of the jacket hanging on the back of his chair. Why don't you eat here with us for a change like you did before? I've been here long enough to know better. What the fuck does that mean? I see. I'll join you some other time when I'm more in the mood. What the fuck does that mean? What are you implying? Inukai pushed the office door open and left, while I continued into the reception area. Yeah, I'm sorry. What? I've been here long enough to know better. Okay. Takako and Fumi were sitting on the sofa watching TV. Scorpio's lucky item for today is a red umbrella, said the lovely dressed woman on TV. Miss Takako, they're talking about your sign. Oh my god, I wanna fucking shoot myself just imagining being in this room right now. An umbrella? It's not even raining outside, and a red? Seriously? A cloudless blue sky stretched beyond the window. I imagine you stand out walking with a red umbrella on a day like this. Fumi then added, it's not like you're the type to believe in fortune telling anyway. Hello. Fumi turned to me as I closed the door behind me. The reception room had a low, rectangle-shaped table and 2 sofas facing each other on each of its sides. The 2 were sitting on opposite sofas at the further end near the TV. I believe in it if it's good. I sat down next to Takako. Here you go. I wonder what's in it today. I handed Takako her lunchbox. I fried yesterday's chicken leftovers with bean jam and then added the usual scrambled eggs, fried fish, and miso soup. I placed the miso soup's flask on the table. Chili sauce. You know, when I worked at an office, I'm probably just like weird for saying this, but I never ever ate during lunch. I just kept working, or I just like did something else. Because I'm just never hungry for lunch. Because I usually only eat once per day anyway, and I'm usually not hungry enough to have my one meal of the day at noon or whatever. I usually do it later. So I usually just didn't eat during the workday and ate later. Chili sauce. I really like this one. Takako was happy to say I didn't forget one of her favorites. Let's dig in. I opened my own, otherwise completely identical lunchbox and picked up the chopsticks. Takako is showing her lunch to Fumi. I'm a bit jealous, to be honest. I wish Miss Takako made lunch for me too. Yeah, it's a bit of a... I would be a bit annoyed if I worked at this company and one of my coworkers was like dating the boss and the boss like made her food and everything. Like, she's probably getting paid more than I am too. What the hell? Meanwhile, Fumi's lunchbox contained stuffed peppers, sliced up boiled eggs, and an entire assortment of vegetables. Cabbage, tomatoes, stuff like that. Everything was ordered to maximize the effect of the colors. I see you always go the extra mile to make your lunches visually appealing. Thank you very much. Let's eat! Itadakimasu! Takako chose to start with her scrambled eggs. So did I. After using my chopsticks to separate my scrambled eggs into 2 smaller pieces, I popped one into my mouth. It had a slightly strong taste. Isn't it spicier than usual? Isn't that how you prefer it? Yeah, but I tried the other ingredients one after another. The chili sauce I made yesterday turned out just right. After spending some time eating, I took a sip from Fumi's tea, letting the sweet fragrance of apples tickle my nostrils. Tickle your nostrils. This brand is called London Flavored Tea. My uncle got it for me as a souvenir and I really enjoyed it, so I figured I'd share it with you. The sweetness and bitterness were just right, and despite the strong smell of apples, I could not identify any sourness. It tasted like a perfect cup of red tea. It's very good. I left the package in the cupboard, so feel free to make it for yourselves. Takako took a sip from her own cup. It's bitter. Looking at Takako's sour expression, I couldn't suppress a faint smile. I prefer sweet apple tea. Like, oh my god, I'm just fucking imagining right now working at this office and having to endure this conversation every fucking day during lunchtime. Oh, this is why I didn't eat lunch. Oh my god. I prefer sweet apple tea. And with that, she returned to eating her lunch. Is it over? Okay. All the windows in the office were opened wide, the curtains around them quivering as the odd light breeze would find its way into the room. I could hear the uneven buzzing of cicadas, like a server machine of sorts, from outside. Like a server machine? It's hot. As I was inspecting Inukai's design on my desk, Takako paused her work and faced Fumi at the desk opposing hers. Fumi gave her a short glance but said nothing. Inukai continued his work in silence. I didn't know these things still kept buzzing in October. Takako picked the paper fan off her desk and started fanning herself. Maybe it's global warming. El Nino, or whatever they called it. What? Fumi finally joined the conversation. Is that for real? For real? Don't you watch TV? The news are full of all these climate phenomena lately. Is this foreshadowing? I recall seeing something about that last year. But if it's abnormal every year, doesn't that make the abnormality normal instead? If it's abnormal every year, doesn't that make the abnormality normal instead? Okay. Summers do feel longer lately. Takako started fanning herself more strongly, letting out a contemplative groan. I wonder how long it'll continue this year. They said the heat wave might continue until the end of November. That's crazy. Then when is autumn going to come? Do your job, people. I'd appreciate it if you did yours too. Ooh, good one. You got our ass. Hey, can I turn on the air conditioner? I glanced out the window. Takako had just opened. The curtains were swaying ever so faintly as a light breeze entered the room. The wind's blowing inside. You can handle a bit of hot hair, can't you? Are you that fucking stingy that you don't want them to turn on the air conditioner in the office? I pointed at the wall next to the entrance. The place where the air conditioner's control panel was. On top of it was a sticker with the words, "Save power, save money." Oh my god. Oh my, every line I read, I hate this office more and more. I would never, oh my god. I would quit this job after 1 week. I swear. Oh my god. Written on it. It wasn't you who put that sticker on there to begin with, was it? Takako grabbed a bottle of water and started loudly gulping its contents down. After finishing the entire bottle, she returned to work. Click, 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 click. Creak. I feel like I'm going to melt. Raising her hand, she leaned against her chairs. Maybe that's what happened. Maybe you melted away, and that's why you disappeared. Don't worry, we'll turn on the air conditioner if you do. Fumi addressed Takako with her eyes still glued to the monitor. Can I take your words on that? And we'll make sure to put what's left of you in the ice scoop tray in a freezer so you can solidify again. Takako lightly pressed her bent index finger against her jaw. I don't want to become a cube. If you start melting, I'm vacating the premises right away. Inukai joined the conversation as well. Hold your goddamn horses. At least call an ambulance for me. I would appreciate it if you all would stop running your mouth and return to work. Okay, that's it. Now that I've grown conscious of the heat, I can't put it out of my mind. Not even changing my wallpaper to the cool sea is helping. Maybe you should try listening to some soothing music. Fumi handed Takako a CD case over their monitors. This is the electronic music I'm currently listening to. Fumi pointed at her headphones. Electronic music? The one they make with synthesizers and stuff, right? It really cools you down? Does it really cool you down? Takako inspected the back of the CD case. It's a Folktronica Summer Special. I don't know anything about music genres. I don't know what that means. The rhythm is inspired by the flow of water, so it makes you feel like you're cooling off under the sea. Fumi was passionately gesticulating with her hands in the head as she explained all this. I can't focus while listening to music. Really? I would say I have a harder time concentrating without it. For me, I think I do concentrate better without music, but sometimes you just need to put the music on to not lose your fucking mind. But I think if I want to focus 100%, I do think I'm better without music. Fumi took out a bag from one of her desk drawer. Then maybe you prefer this. She pulled out a small blue tube and handed it to Takako. What's this? Mint gel. You have to put it on your neck like this. What? Fumi made a neck stroking motion. Takako imitated her movements, rubbing the gel from the tube on her neck. This is definitely some fucking Japanese pseudoscience bullshit that was popular for a year or two. How is it? I don't feel any thin gel. Okay, I'm gonna assume that pun worked better in Japanese than here. That's not how it works. With that, Fumi returned to work. Aren't you hot, Inukai? Takako turned to Inukai next. Inukai's finger. What do you do here, Takako? Do you do any work, or do you're just fucking vibing? Previously dancing on the keyboard at a brisk pace had now halted. Hot. I didn't notice until you mentioned it. I don't feel it much if I concentrate on the job at hand. Inukai readjusted his glasses. That's the problem. I can't concentrate. Takako leaned heavily against the back of her chair. How about you take a break and cool down? That might be a good idea. Yeah, a break from your 2 minutes of work. Pressing her hand against the back of her chair, Takako was about to stand up. Wait, they're having a sale at the grocery store today, right? Yeah. Wonder if I should make curry tonight if we get home early. Takako fell back on her seat. Let's do our best to finish on time today. And began frantically typing on her keyboard. Well, that was simple. Takako Tamer. Oh, I get it. Yeah, okay. Inukai and Fumi had something to say. Look, I'm not a beastmaster. She's just simple as an animal. Yo, private combos are during work and go against protocol. Shut the fuck up. Are you planning to stay late and cash in on the overtime? 3 pairs of eyes shifted to Takako. He is working overtime. I suppose that's it for today. I'll be leaving then. As the lights began to turn on in the corridors, Inukai left the office with his bag and jacket in hand. Fumi had a personal errand to run, so he left at the usual time. Takako opened the door to the office shortly after Inukai had left. Where's Inukai? He just left. Did you need him for something? Nope. Takako returned to her desk and sat down in her chair. Please don't have sex in the office. You're about done, right? Yes. All the program windows on my monitor had already been closed. It's pretty late, so I guess it'd be too much of a pain to go ahead with the curry plan. Wanna eat out somewhere? We're so busy this month, I couldn't even spend almost any of my money. I suppose you're right. We can go. Takako stood up, flashing a smile. I'll switch the lights off, you just take care of the lock. Alright. Takako disappeared beyond the door. I locked the windows as well as the door to the kitchen. Then I pulled down the blinds too. As I flipped the light switch near the entrance, the room was followed by darkness. All the electronic devices were safely turned off. I could only hear the buzzing of the fridge from the kitchen. I left the office, locked the doors from outside. We're getting a really intricate description of everything she did to lock the office, and continued down the dark corridor illuminated only by a set of dim LED lights. Takako was waiting for me in a car by the entrance. I opened the door and sat in the front seat next to her. Hey, Takako spoke up as I arrived. So decided on a place yet? Of course. You okay with Western food? Hold on, wait, why does she look... Why does she look so fucking cool while driving this? Seeing my nod, Takako started up the car. It moved so smoothly, I couldn't even tell she was changing gears. Wait a second, Wait. Why is this... This is a Western car. Does this not take place in Japan? Because, the wheel is on the left side, right? Huh. Did they just have a Western car for some reason? I'll write that down. What was that phone call in the afternoon all about? Mr. Sasuke from the Tinners has apparently conquered another mountain. Mr. Sasuke from the Tinner, I don't understand what this means. What is a tinner? A tin miner or tinsmith? What? I don't get it. Takako halted the car just before the white stop line. After looking to the left and the right, she turned on to the main street, leaving her alley behind. Isn't mountain climbing getting a bit too much for the guy, given his age? I guess this is some client that they have? I'd say so, which is why I asked the university's mountain climbing club to accompany him. You did? Yes, I had an errand to run back on campus, so I figured why not. As the traffic light turned green, the line of cars began to edge forward again. How did you even come up with an idea like that? Remember when we talked about the Alps the other day? How you can go there and hire a local instructor who'll help you carry your bags and build tents for like 500 yen? That does ring a bell. Takako, with her hand still glued to the wheel, leaned slightly forward to continue to confirm the neighboring traffic lane. There weren't many cars on the road, leaving more than enough space for us. Takako checked the side mirror and changed traffic lanes after signaling. Last time I met him, Mr. Sasaki was going on about how much of a shame it was that Japan had no service like that. Guess I'll write down Mr. Sasaki. And when I talked to him over the phone, he told me how happy he was to have finally gotten a chance to climb that thing, while also making new friends in the process. That's nice to hear. The slight swaying of the car felt pleasantly sleep-inducing. Sachi. What? I mentioned this before, but I think we should increase the number of departments at our office. Even if it's only the 4 of us? That's precisely why. Do you just want you two to be alone? Right now, no one really thinks much about the differences in their duties. If we get stumped by something, someone else just comes in to help out. But now that we get more offers, everyone's forced to stay overtime. I think we should start defining clear roles for everyone. Then we'll be able to tell exactly what's holding us back and what could be improved. So what kind of roles did you have in mind? I think we should continue what we're already doing for the most part. You as the manager, Fumi as the accountant. Meanwhile, me and Inukai should concentrate more on the business side of things. I should be in the first department of design doing planning and development, while Inukai should be in the second department, mainly taking care of orders and dealing with clients. What about the clients you've been managing until now? If possible, I'd like him to take over. As the head of the second department, Inukai should have complete authority over everything client related. He said he wanted more freedom, so I get the feeling he'd be up for it. And if we're going to get bigger in the future, we'll be able to increase the amount of people in any of the departments. At one point, we can hire someone to take over your management duties. And since I don't need to deal with customers anymore, I get more free time as well. If that works out, we'll have more time for trips and our hobbies and all the fun stuff. Okay, is this the real reason you're proposing this? I'm starting to see what your main objective is. Well, duh. All I care about is having fun with you. I recall telling you that when I quit my last job. I suppose you did. I closed my eyes, remembering how we ended up quitting our previous jobs. Going independent after having saved some money was mainly Takako's idea. She might seem a bit of a scatterbrain from time to time, but her ability to plan for the future far exceeds mine. Well, she keeps getting like illuminated by the car coming the other way, I guess. That's what that effect is. I don't mind if you sleep. My head nodded as the car rolled over a bump in the road. I straightened my back. I'll stay awake. I glanced out the window and saw the neon lights of the radio tower gleaming in the distance. There were more cars on the road than before. Were you sleeping? Just a little bit. Takako checked the side mirror, then turned the wheel to the left. I could feel a slight onset of centrifugal force press me against the seat. As our car entered the new road, it began soundlessly speeding up. We've been working overtime so much lately. This week will be the last, I promise. I guess it'll take some time before we get anything this big again. Yeah. Giving an absent-minded reply, I gazed at the orange lights through the windshield. I leaned against my seat, narrowing my eyes. You are tired, aren't you? Takako made a faint smile, observing me from the corner of her eyes. How far are we? We should be there in about 10 minutes, I think. Will you take that nap after all? I might not wake up if I give in now. Want to listen to some music? Oh, is it going to be the electronic music or whatever? Takako reached out towards the audio panel. I'm not in the mood right now. Okay. Takako returned her hands to the wheel. I won't fall asleep if we talk. Want to hear a scary story? Maybe some other time. You just don't like anything, do you? You're just a real fucking killjoy. Takako heaved a contemplative groan. How about a story about my adventures overseas? I was there too, remember? What was our first trip again? Taiwan. Ah, that's right. Our plane landed in Taipei and we took a bus straight to our hotel. Did you forget? Outside, it felt like you were in a sauna, but the interior of the bus was freezing cold, right? I sweat right up in an instant. Where did we go first? I think we first went to a convenience store. We bought an instant camera. I remember you kept going on and on about how they had so many convenience stores around. Okay, so I don't think this is the same trip that we saw last time, right? And that's where that weird juice we bought. Turns out it was strawberry flavored toothpaste. We also went to the kingdom of the little people. There was this jet coaster spinning at an insane speed, right? Yeah, I remember that. I picked the side seat, so I thought I'd get crushed when you fell on me. I told you I didn't want to get on, but it was fun. What else did we do? Feeling my eyelids grow heavier, I finally closed them. Hello? Did I get you embarrassed? I felt too drowsy to even open my mouth. I couldn't even make out what you were saying anymore. You fell asleep? Takako still seemed to be talking. Sure was fun. I hope we can go again sometimes. Clank, clank. I opened my eyes as my seat jerked violently. The lights inside the train fell dark for a moment, but soon returned to normal. Realizing that I felt cold, I fixed the collar of my thick cardigan. The night train was almost completely devoid of passengers. There was only one family sitting diagonally across me that boarded the train at the same station as I did. Trails of raindrops trickled down the window behind them in the opposite direction the train was moving. I want a chopstick toy. The boy with a hoodie turned to the man who was most likely his father. Okay, so was that whole scene that we saw a dream that Sachiko was having while she was sleeping on the train? Chopsticks? I've never even heard of a toy like that. All my classmates have it. I asked Santa to get me one for Christmas. I see. What did these chopsticks look like exactly? So we're close to Christmas? The boy made an odd shape with his hands. The rain grew fiercer by the minute, brushing against the window in a wave-like pattern. I saw a tunnel in the distance, its streets distorted, as I looked at them through the rain-soaked windows. A heavy storm cloud, blocking out even the moonlight, loomed over the cityscape, covering it in darkness. I realized I could see myself reflected in the window. Brushing the hair out of my face, I glanced down at the book resting on my knees. Can I see? Okay, she's holding a book. I'm really gonna need to organize my notes better. Because right now I'm just writing them as I have something to write, but the story is non-linear, so that doesn't really work. After the boy and his father had gotten off the train at the next station, I was left alone in the silence. I raised my face to look at the fogged-up window behind the now empty seats. Oh, you're hallucinating, right? The lights of the town grew dimmer, and in the dark and distorted reflection of the train interior, I thought I saw the hazy figure of Takako sitting next to me. I looked to my side, but the seat was empty. As I returned my gaze to the window, all I saw was my own lone self sitting in the empty train car. Okay, so that whole scene that we saw was a memory or a dream that she was having while she was on that train. It's probably too early to theorize on what happened to Takako, right? But I'm starting to get some ideas. I'll let them simmer for now. Stepping into the living room, I could see the cloudy morning sky through the window, its canvas complemented by a multitude of buildings towering in the distance like they were an elaborate bar graph. I flipped the switch on the wall, leaving only the lamp on the nightstand on. A groan escaped my lips as I felt the cold in the room. I lifted off a paperback from the shelf below the phone. I bought the thing shortly before my business trip at the bookstore near the station. After making myself comfortable on the sofa next to the window, I swiped off the dust from the book I had just picked up and began reading from the page that had my bookmark. Wait, I'm sorry. Okay, so you bought this a long time ago, okay. So this isn't the same book that you had on train, right? Or I guess maybe the scene that we saw earlier was her first buying the book, and this is like a few weeks later or something, and the book is already in the bookshelf now, and she's been reading it. After making myself comfortable on the sofa next to the window, I swiped off the dust from the book I just picked up and began reading from the page that had my bookmark. Yet after only a few or so pages, I had to return to the first page again. It's very relatable. I literally just did that. I went at it again, skimming through the parts I understood in my first go, turning pages with one hand while adjusting my glasses with the other. Yeah, you wear glasses? I guess I'll write that down. The somewhat loosened metallic part of my working/reading/computer glasses turned with a low creak. Okay, but it's only for reading. The washing machine I turned on before coming to the room let a loud beep just as I was about halfway done with the book. I closed the book and went to pick up my laundry. The orange hue of the morning sky entered my vision through the window as I rose from the sofa. By the time I finished hanging the last of my clothes, the white shirt of my work outfit, the sun that was only slightly peeking from the horizon when I started had risen high into the sky. A stray gust of wind drifted into the window, making my laundry flutter like the many legs of some octopus-like being. As I gave Takako's shirt on the hanger a few pats, my hand hit something hard around the vicinity of the breast pocket. I slid my finger into it and pulled out a wet business card. Wet? I turned it over, but the name was too washed out to read. I need to organize my notes better. This is so confusing. Wet business card. In the end, I returned to my room and flipped the thing into the trash can. Inhaling a lungful of air, I glanced at my paperback, still resting on the sofa and in the fridge, before my gaze finally settled on a calendar hanging on the wall. An illustration of an autumn landscape decorated its current page, right below the name of the month. More specifically, it displayed a post-harvest field split apart by a long road in the middle. The road itself was flanked by trees on both sides, their fallen leaves covering the ground with spots of orange and yellow. The hands of the wall clock next to the calendar completely overlapped. I rubbed my right shoulder with my left hand and continued to the kitchen. Does your right shoulder hurt? What do you mean? Rubbed right shoulder? Question mark. It's such good doing that. I may need to move from Notepad to Google Doc or something. For breakfast, I whipped up some scrambled eggs with salad. Once I had finished eating it, I began cleaning my apartment. First, I separated the boxes in the corridor into things I should keep, things I should throw away, and things I should send to Takako's family. Yeah, because she just disappeared one day, and nobody cares. I brushed off the dust off one of the boxes I decided to send. I grabbed the magic marker from the living room and popped off its cap, looking carefully at the postcard I took from the bundle near the phone. I wrote the address of her house on the front of the box and mine on the back. Before taping the box shut, I slipped in the letter I wrote for her family. It was an apology for being so late to send it. As I finished packing, I returned to the living room and phoned the delivery service, booking them for the earliest possible time. After placing the phone back to its place, I turned around and noticed the boxes, all separated into categories of what should be left here and what should be sent away. Not a single box had been marked to be thrown away. Things I couldn't figure out uses for, I instantly discarded, while the rest went back into their boxes. By the end of it, I didn't have enough items to fill even a single box. I picked up the scissors and packing tape from the floor. Is this everything? Yes, thank you very much. As the middle-aged man carried the last of my boxes with his broad arms into the elevator, a younger and taller man handed me their seat. Okay, wait, I'm sorry. I need to do like Sachiko and reread what I just read. So are you moving? Is that why you're boxing up your things as well, not only Takako's, like old things? As a middle-aged man carried the last of my boxes with his broad arms into the elevator, a younger and taller man handed me the receipt. The younger man gave me a brief bow and hurried away to the elevator that the older man was keeping open for him. Once I saw them leave, I locked my door and returned to the living room. I guess you're only sending Takako stuff? Placing my wallet in the bamboo basket, I heaved a brief sigh. I glanced at my feet to see the rays of the sun almost reaching them. After directing a brief glance at the clock on the wall, I stepped onto the balcony and touched the denim shorts on the hanger to check if they had dried. As I gazed outside, I spotted the balcony of the mansion to my left. The futon that was there when I was hanging my own laundry had since disappeared. Is this correct in English? Because I know in Japanese they refer to apartment units as mansions, but I don't know if that's you can call them that in English. Might just be like a translation thing. The futon that was there when I was hanging my own laundry had since disappeared. I collected my clothes and closed the balcony door behind me. I sat down next to the mountain of clothes and started folding them. It felt somewhat cold in the apartment even after closing the window, but the sunlight filtering in from outside warmed me up a little. After folding the jackets, I separated the clothespin from the underwear and folded them as well. I grabbed the matching socks by the cuff and folded one into the other to create a ball. I heard the floor creak as I picked up one black sock and continued to look for the next. As I returned the dark blue sock I picked up by mistake to my mountain of accumulated laundry, the living room door opened. Takako appeared in her pajamas and continued to the kitchen, stifling a yawn with one hand. Okay, this is a hallucination, right? I followed her with my gaze until she disappeared behind the corner. I continued staring at the wall that Takako vanished behind for a couple of seconds when her head suddenly popped into view again. Do we have anything to eat? No. I'm hungry. Takako gave her belly a light pat. It's way past lunchtime. You'll have to manage until dinner. Do we have any snacks? No. Is this not an hallucination? It has to be. With that, Takako disappeared back into the kitchen. I could hear the sounds of the opening drawers. No way, there's really nothing here. Did you already eat all the cookies in the jar? When did we even have such a thing? Whatever, I guess I'll just eat sugar or something. Hey, I'll start preparing dinner after I'm done with the laundry, okay? What are you going to make? I absentmindedly checked the calendar and the clock on the wall. I don't know. What do you want? Sukiyaki! We don't have enough soy sauce. Then I'll go buy some. Takako emerged from the kitchen holding a cup of barley tea. Is there anything else you need? Soy sauce and meat for sukiyaki. I can manage the rest. I'm not seeing any shirataki either. Less than noodles. Takako opened the fridge and looked inside. That too. Is that all? Guess I could also use some detergent. Gotcha. Okay, what's going on? This is the first thing that's happened so far where I'm like, what's going on? Like, this is the first thing that's like, is a mystery, I guess. Like, I don't understand. Takako opened the living room door and disappeared beyond it. Because, in the scenes we saw earlier, Sachiko, there were boxes with Takako's stuff in the apartment. And that was the same scene, I think, where Sachiko talked about how Takako had disappeared. But now the boxes are being delivered back to Takako's family. So it's after that last scene we saw, presumably, right? But now Takako's here. Takako opened the living room door and disappeared beyond it. If this isn't a hallucination, then why are the boxes being sent back to her family? Is she moving back in with them? The door closed behind her with a thud. I could see the orange rays of the evening sun reflected on a polished wood. The room felt completely silent, with only the distant cawing of ravens from outside reaching my ears. Huh. Reading was interrupted by the sound of the rice cooker signaling that the rice was done. I slid the bookmark into my paper bag and left it on the sofa. Stepping into the kitchen, I opened the fridge. I grabbed all the eggs from the order on the top shelf of the door. Then I reached for the oil and a bowl in the bottom cabinet. After cracking the eggs on the side of the bowl, I discarded their shells in the garbage basket below the sink. I picked up a pair of chopsticks and parted the two pieces ever so slightly. Is this a chopstick toy that the boy was talking about on the train? Then gently began moving them back and forth to mix the white with the yolk. As I was doing that, I heard the front door behind me unlock. I heard the floor creak and the living room door opened. I'm back. Takako left the shopping bag on the table and pulled up a nearby chair to sit down. Welcome home. Leaving the bowl with my mixed eggs, I moved to the kitchen and checked the contents of the shopping bag Takako grabbed back. I found a pack of sukiyaki meat with a bargain sale sticker on it, some chrysanthemum greens, I think those are flowers, shirataki. What about the soy sauce? It should be at the bottom. I found it under the shirataki bag. I thanked her and she responded by raising her arm. Once I got out everything I needed from the bag, I brought them to the kitchen. I left the frying pan on the stove. I turned its knob 3 times until the flame lit up. This is... I don't know if this is Sachiko who thinks like this, or if every character, like Takako was like this also, I don't remember. But every time she does anything, we get an extremely detailed explanation with every single step, like step by step. Then drained the oil from the frying pan with a kitchen towel as I heated it up. There was a beep followed by the sound of the TV. As the probability of rain remains high, we recommended taking an umbrella in the event of going out. There's a weather forecast. They said it's gonna rain tomorrow. Huh. I reached out to the bottle of mentsuyu on the cabinet and dripped a few drops of it into my egg bowl before stirring the mixture with my chopsticks again. Once I was finished with that, I spilled about half of what was in that bowl into the frying pan. A sharp, sizzling sound followed. I rotated the frying pan so the beaten eggs would cover its entire surface, then popped the bubbles that would appear on it with my chopsticks. A delicious smell began to fill the entire kitchen. Is this a recipe? I think I could make this from scratch after reading this. I could hear the sound of changing TV channels from the living room. Are you frying eggs over there? No, I'm just pissing. Takako momentarily stopped fiddling with the remote control. Yes, the eggs in the frying pan started to congeal. I folded the whole thing in half with my chopsticks. I drained the oil from the newly open area with a kitchen towel, and after moving the folded egg to it, I drained the other half as well. Finally, I unfolded the egg and spilled the rest of the bowl's contents on it. Smells like we're having a feast tonight. You're about the only one who gets this excited over a sukiyaki and a fried egg. I love fried eggs. As the eggs began to harden, I folded it again, while also making some minor adjustments to its shape with my spatula. I'm pretty sure this is a dream now. Oh yeah? Yes. I see. Well, I don't care as long as I get my food. Okay, because you're hallucinating. Okay. There we go. There's the explanation. Okay. I really wanted that fucking cooking explanation to go on for like 5 more paragraphs. As I sat up from the sofa, I immediately clutched my head in response to a sudden sharp jolt of pain. I glanced out the window to see the sun already vanishing beyond the horizon and a few stray stars shining in the night sky. My laundry was all neatly folded next to my feet. There was no pot on the dining table in front of the TV, nor any shopping bag on the other table. I stood up and peeked out the living room door to check the boxes. They were indeed gone. I closed the door again, then turned around and stuffed my dry clothes into the designated drawers before getting ready to make my second dinner tonight. Please give me the explanation of how you made that dinner. I need to know. Damn, I guess we'll never know. It's gonna be one of the remaining mysteries of this story. It's a bit short, but let's stop here, because otherwise, if I do this whole chapter, it's gonna be like 30 more minutes, so let's just save here. I already out of save slots. I didn't get any extra tips since last time, did I? Tips. No, okay. What's chapter? That's chapter selection? Yeah. Oh, I'm still in the prologue. Oh. I thought the prologue was just the beginning. Such a beautiful day. What's Red Umbrella? I don't remember that. Reviewing it. What was Red Umbrella? What does this have to do with umbrellas? Because it said it was gonna rain on TV? Is that why? Or... Okay, whatever. But yeah, I'm gonna stop here for now. Yeah, I guess that last scene wasn't a mystery, because it was just another hallucination. Or I guess it's just a dream. I don't think I have enough information right now to make any real guesses as to what happened to Takako. I mean, I could just like list out some like classic like mystery novel cliche, like maybe, I mean, it could be a million things, but like if we're talking like visual novel, like sci-fi mystery thing, she's in a different universe, she's in the past, she's in the future. Maybe she was never real, maybe she was always just in your imagination and just you were just imagining people talking to her for some reason. Maybe maybe she just fucking died, like nothing supernatural. Maybe she just I mean, that's pretty much it, I think. Maybe she got abducted by aliens. Maybe. Who knows? Yeah, I don't think I have enough information to really say right now. The only thing I like vaguely I had in mind was them mentioning global warming. That seemed like a little bit suspicious, like that raising an eyebrow. So I thought maybe that may be related to something. But I'm not sure, because the game has like mentioned so many innocuous details that it's probably just like one of those, and it's not actually foreshadowing. By the way, even though I'm like kind of like laughing at this game with how like over detailed some of the explanations are, this is kind of good for a mystery, because often in visual novels the prose will be like super non-descriptive, and it'll just like randomly mention one specific detail, and if it's a mystery, you read that and you know like, oh, it mentioned that one specific detail, but other than that, the prose is like non-descriptive. So I just know instantly that that's foreshadowing and that tiny detail is gonna come back later. You're gonna see that a lot if you watch me play other mystery visual novels. That's a trope that comes back over and over again. And once you notice it, it's unbelievably easy to pick out like what's foreshadowing in a lot of these. But in this, the fact that it is very like it is written very detailed, like with a lot of like a very detailed explanations, like the surroundings and the actions of everyone, and like a lot of like conversations about random things, that makes it easier to spot the foreshadowing, because there's a lot more red herring, I guess, compared to something like if you read any like Danganronpa game, it is so unbelievably obvious whenever anything in that is foreshadowing, or when anything is that can be relevant later, because they don't even try. Same thing in Ace Attorney, honestly. Like it's extremely obvious when a piece of information is going to come back later. But anyway, yeah. I'm just yapping. I'm done for now. Alright, see you next time.